My name is Amelia Carter. I always believed that families were supposed to feel like a place of safety, a home, a nest you could return to even when the world turned cold. Growing up, I clung to that idea like a life raft, especially during the years when my parents divorced and Dad moved on with his new family. That's what I secretly called them, his real family. Dad remarried when I was 10 to a woman named Marlene. She came with a daughter, Chloe, the golden girl, the kind of girl who never had frizzy hair or mismatched socks, who always knew what to say around adults. Chloe had a spotlight without having to earn it. I hovered somewhere in the back row, like the stranger who accidentally walked into their family portrait. Dad used to ruffle Chloe's hair and say, "She's a natural star." He never called me anything. But I tried not to resent her. I tried to stay grateful, quiet, good. Every year, Dad planned family vacations, and every year I was left behind, too busy. He'd say, "Too expensive this time. Maybe next year, kiddo." But Chloe always went. Even when I cried, even when I begged, I stayed home with Mom while they posted pictures on beaches and ski resorts. Their photos looked like Hallmark cards. I looked like an outsider scrolling through them. So when I turned 22 and Dad invited me to the annual family meeting to discuss the vacation, something inside me bloomed a spark of hope I hadn't felt in years. Maybe he finally wanted me. The meeting happened at their house, the one I never felt allowed to call home. The dining room always had this smell of lemon polish and privilege. The chandelier hung above the table like a spotlight, illuminating everyone but me. Chloe sat at the head of the table, legs crossed, sipping sparkling water like she lived in a commercial. Dad sat beside her, tapping his phone, distracted. Marlene, wearing pearls like she was born in them, smiled tightly when I walked in. "Oh, Amelia, you made it. Not I'm happy to see you, just you showed up." I swallowed and sat down. There was a large binder on the table with tabs labeled destinations, activities, budget, packing list. Chloe had color, coded everything. She slid the binder toward Dad dramatically. "We're thinking either Italy or Greece this year," she said, but I curated a list of villas in Tuscany and Santorini. Dad nodded proudly, my little planner. I forced a smile. "That's nice." They went through options, wine tours, boat cruises, private chefs like they were selecting toppings for pizza. I didn't say much, just watched and listened, waiting for a moment to speak. And when Dad finally looked at me, actually looked, I felt my chest tighten. "So, Amelia," he said, "any thoughts?" My heart was hammering in my ribs. I swallowed, tried to sound confident. I can't wait for our vacation." For a moment the room froze. Then Dad laughed, not a small chuckle. A full dismissive laugh, the kind someone gives when a child says something naive. "Our vacation," he said, wiping his eyes like I'd told a joke. Marlene smirked. Chloe looked at me like I was a cat who tried to speak English. Dad leaned back in his chair. "Sweetie, this vacation is, well, it's more of a bonding thing for us." He gestured to Chloe, then to Marlene. "Our little family." I stared at him, my throat burning. "Dad, I am part of this family." He waved his hand dismissively. "You know what I mean." But I didn't. I really didn't. Chloe leaned forward, pity dripping off her voice. "Amelia, these trips aren't really your vibe. Lots of activities, lots of photos, very social." Dad laughed again, as if we're dragging her around museums and rooftop restaurants. My voice cracked. "I have a stable job now. I can pay for myself." Dad's expression changed, but not to pride. Annoyance. "Amelia, don't make a scene. We already booked everything." That's when I realized they never intended to invite me. They only invited me to watch them plan their perfect family dream without me. A buzzing filled my ears, like static. I felt my face heat up as I tried to breathe quietly. My fingers dug into the chair's edge so I wouldn't shake. "So why call me here?" I whispered. Silence. Marlene shrugged casually. "We just wanted to keep you in the loop." Keep me in the loop, like a coworker getting an email about a meeting I wasn't invited to. Dad closed the binder, signaling the end of the conversation. "All right, team. Tuscany it is. Not Tuscany with all of us, just them." I stood slowly, feeling the world tilt. Thank you for reminding me where I stand, I murmured. Nobody stopped me, and as I walked out of that house, something inside me hardened. A shift, a quiet unraveling of the old version of me, the one who begged for scraps of affection. If Dad didn't see me as family, I'd make sure the whole world heard why, and this time he wouldn't laugh. My footsteps echoed down their long marble hallway, but no one followed me. No one called out my name. I reached the front door with a lump lodged in my throat so tight I could barely breathe. When it clicked shut behind me, the finality of it hit like a punch. That night, I drove to my tiny apartment on the other side of town, the side without pristine hedges and neighborhood security patrols. Rain splattered on my windshield like angry fingertips tapping too hard. The wipers struggled against the downpour, smearing the streaks of light from street lamps. When I parked, I didn't get out. I just sat there in the dark, engine running, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror. My eyes were glassy, but the tears refused to fall. I wasn't going to cry, not for them. My phone buzzed a group photo from Chloe, the message captioned, "Family vacation planning night, Tuscany, here we come." In the picture, Dad and Marlene hugged Chloe on either side like she was the axis of their universe. Everyone was smiling, beaming, radiating joy. The caption followed with a laughing emoji. I didn't reply. I didn't block them either. I wanted to see everything, every post, every story, every moment they were so proud to share without me. But the real betrayal came 3 days later. I had taken the weekend off. I needed space. So when Dad called, I let it ring. When he called again, I let it ring. But when Chloe texted, "Dad said you owe us an apology for the other night," I called him back immediately. He didn't start with hello. "You embarrassed us," Dad snapped. "We invited you out of courtesy." Courtesy, I repeated, voice hollow. He sighed like I was exhausting him. "You don't fit into our dynamic. You're always emotional, always making everything heavy." I felt something inside me split open. I was excited. I whispered. I just wanted to be included. "You're too sensitive," Dad said. "People don't enjoy being tiptoed around. Maybe if you acted more like Chloe." "I'm not Chloe," I shot back. He didn't even hesitate. I know. He sounded disappointed, like the biggest regret of his life was that I wasn't her. I sat down slowly onto the edge of my bed, afraid my knees might give out. "Dad," I said, voice trembling, "I grew up watching you give her everything I never got. Attention, praise, love, and I still tried to show up. I still wanted to be close to you." He exhaled sharply. "Marlene thinks we should set boundaries. We can't keep letting you bring negative energy into our home." Negative energy? I pulled the phone from my ear and stared at it like it had physically burned me. "Amelia," he continued, his voice growing softer, like he thought it would soften the blow, "you need to accept your place." "My place," I whispered. "On the outside," he said. The words hit harder than any slap could. I didn't remember ending the call. I only remembered sitting on the cold floor of my bedroom, hands shaking, staring into nothing. The betrayal wasn't that they didn't take me on the trip. It was that they never wanted me around at all. Not as a daughter, not even as an observer. A few days passed. I went to work, came home, slept. Didn't eat much. I became a ghost in my own life. But then something happened that lit the fuse beneath everything. On Instagram, Chloe posted a reel, a glossy montage of their Tuscany trip, clips of vineyards, wine glasses clinking, slow-motion laughter. The caption read, "Family, where love begins and never ends." I tapped the comments section. Hundreds of people responded with, "So beautiful. Your family is goals. I wish I was this close with mine." Something inside me snapped. They were crafting a perfect story, and I knew the truth. I knew every ugly, hidden piece of it. Then Chloe posted a photo that sent adrenaline racing through my veins. A group shot at a villa dinner. Dad raising a glass, caption, "To the best family I could ever ask for." I could hear his voice in my head. "You need to accept your place." On the outside, that night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, something changed in me. A clarity, a decision. If they saw me as the outsider, the ghost, the complication, fine, but I would become something else too, the mirror, the one that shows who they really are, not the family goals Instagram paints. Not the curated perfection Chloe posts, the truth, something slow, steady, and dangerous formed in my mind. I wouldn't scream, I wouldn't confront, I would reveal them, quietly, publicly. And the world they cared about so deeply, would finally see everything they never wanted anyone to see. They wanted to put me outside, then I'd set the stage from there. Revenge didn't hit me like lightning. It came slow, precise, like the first drop of water before a flood. I didn't want to ruin them violently, or scream, or throw accusations they'd deny. I wanted to do something worse. I wanted to let them expose themselves. I started by quietly gathering every receipt of neglect. I dug through years of old texts, screenshots, voicemails I'd saved without knowing why, from birthdays Dad forgot, from times he promised to show up and didn't. I found one voicemail from when I was 16. "Kiddo, sorry I missed the recital. Chloe had a cheer thing, you understand." Another one from when I graduated college. "Oh, wow, I didn't know it was today. Your mom should have reminded me." And then the one that broke me. "You can't keep expecting me to choose between you and Chloe." Listening to them again without the fog of hope gave me something I had never allowed myself to have: anger. But anger alone isn't revenge. People forget anger. What people don't forget, the truth spoken publicly. So I made a plan. I created a new anonymous Instagram account. Not fake, not malicious, just observational. Username, the forgotten daughter. I didn't post anything at first. I just watched. Chloe kept uploading Tuscany photos, smiling on cliffs, laughing on yachts. Caption, family is everything. Each post was like fuel. I started writing short captions beneath their vacation photos. Not comments, actual posts. A mirror of Chloe's, but with the truth she refused to show. Chloe posted a photo. Dad surprised us with a wine-tasting tour. I posted, "My dad once missed my graduation because he overslept on a vacation he went on without me." She posted, "Family dinner night, feeling blessed." I posted, "He laughed when I said I wanted to join the family vacation. He told me to know my place, no names. No identifiers, just truth." People found the account slowly, friends who knew me, coworkers, acquaintances. They read, asked questions, whispered, but I wasn't aiming for them. I was aiming for the moment someone connected the dots. And I knew exactly how to make that happen. One night, while scrolling through their Tuscany story highlights, I found it a perfect opportunity. Chloe had posted a behind the scenes picture, tagged with the location and a date. I reposted the screenshot on my anonymous account with the caption, "Funny thing about highlight reels, you never see who had to be excluded to make them perfect." Within a week, the account had 3 0 followers. Strangers commented, "Who would laugh at their own kid like that? You deserved better. I hope karma bites them." And then someone finally asked, "Is your dad the guy in Chloe Hartwell's posts?" I never answered. I didn't have to. The momentum built itself. Meanwhile, I started working on phase 2. Chloe posted a YouTube travel vlog, Tuscany with my amazing family, perfectly edited, music that sounded like sunshine. She ended it with a caption, "Tell your loved ones you appreciate them. Life is short." My hands shook, but my voice stayed steady as I recorded my own video, just my voice, no face. The screen was black, text appearing slowly as I spoke. I once sat at a table while my family planned a vacation around me, not including me. I said, "I can't wait for our vacation." My dad laughed. I played audio of that voicemail, the one where he said, "You need to accept your place on the outside." People heard his voice, his tone, his dismissal. I didn't name him. I didn't show his face, but they recognized the voice. They recognized his words. Within hours, comments exploded. "That's Chloe's dad from the Tuscany vlog." I knew something felt off about that family. They treat her like an accessory. The video hit 50 zeros. 0 views in 2 days. Then 140,000, and that's when Chloe texted me. Her messages came in fast, frantic bursts. Is this you? Take that video down. Dad is furious. I didn't respond. Dad called next. I stared at his name on my screen. I'd never seen him call this many times. Eventually, I answered. His voice wasn't angry. It was scared. Amelia, what are you doing? I let the silence hang a moment before replying, accepting my place. You're ruining us. No, I whispered. You did that when you built a family without me. He tried to regain control. He slipped into his usual tone, the condescending one. You need to take everything down before people get the wrong idea. They're not getting the wrong idea, I said. They're getting the truth. He exhaled shakily. You're going to destroy our reputation. I smiled, small, tired, victorious. That's the difference between us, Dad. I never cared about reputation. I just wanted a father. He wasn't expecting that. For the first time in my life, he had no words. I ended the call, and I didn't feel guilty, not even for a second, because finally for once he was on the outside, watching me walk away. The storm didn't hit all at once. It rolled in slowly, a rumor, a whisper, a screenshot being passed around until suddenly it became too big to contain. 3 days after the video blew up, the comments under Chloe's Tuscany vlog changed tone. Not admiration, accusation. Is your sister the one from the viral Forgotten Daughter account? You shouldn't preach family is everything if you treat yours like trash. Why is your dad yelling know your place in that voicemail? And then the one comment that really lit the fire, we know who you are now. It had 10 zeros, 0 likes. I was sitting on my couch, legs curled under a blanket, watching everything unfold on my phone. I felt strangely calm, not euphoric, not guilty, just quiet. Like I was finally breathing clean air after living in someone else's smoke. Then my phone buzzed, a FaceTime request. Dad, he never FaceTimed me, even when I was a kid. I let it ring out. A minute later, a second request appeared. Then a third. I finally answered. The camera flipped on to reveal Dad in what looked like his office, not at home, not in Italy. His hair was messy, his face pale. Behind him, Marlene paced like a wolf trapped in a mall cage. Chloe sat in the corner with a blanket around her, mascara smudged from crying. Amelia, Dad said, voice low, strained, we need to talk. There it was, the one sentence I begged to hear my entire childhood. We need to talk. Is everything okay? I asked with a softness I didn't feel. You need to delete your posts. Marlene snapped, immediately. Dad shot her a warning look and turned back to me. This is spiraling. People are tagging our business page. They're accusing me of emotional neglect. I raised my eyebrows. Are they wrong? His jaw clenched. This could ruin us. No, I said gently. It's just exposing what already existed. If the truth ruins you, then the foundation was never solid. Chloe finally looked up, her voice shaking small. You don't understand. He worked so hard to build what we have. I held her gaze, and he could have built a family too, but he didn't. The silence that followed was heavy, not just awkward, but revealing. It was the sound of truth landing on a table where lies used to sit in comfort. Dad rubbed his forehead. What do you want from us? I took a breath, because this was the moment. I want acknowledgement, I said. I want you to say I am part of this family, publicly. Dad blinked, slowly, as if the request was foreign. You want a statement? He asked cautiously. I want you to tell the truth. I said, on your account, where everyone will see it. Marlene stared at me with open disbelief. You're blackmailing us. I didn't flinch, no. I'm giving you a chance to fix what you broke. Dad swallowed hard, and then for the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. Not fear of losing me. Fear of losing the image of himself he had curated so carefully. Shockingly, Chloe spoke up. Dad, she whispered, just apologize. Marlene gasped as if someone had slapped her. Chloe. But Chloe kept going, voice trembling. We did treat her like she wasn't part of us, you know we did. That was the first honest sentence I had ever heard from her. Dad stared down at his desk, shoulders sagging. His voice came out barely above a whisper. I don't know how to fix this. I expected to feel triumphant. Instead, I felt tired. You start, I said softly, by saying you're sorry. He didn't look at me when he said it. I'm sorry, Amelia, but it wasn't enough. Look into the camera, I said. Say it like you mean it. His eyes lifted, and for once they weren't cold. I'm sorry I made you feel like an outsider. I was wrong. The tightness in my chest loosened, not healed, but less suffocating. Chloe wiped a tear. Marlene stayed frozen, expression unreadable. Thank you, I said. Now post it on your public account. He hesitated. I will, he said. Just give me a little time. I shook my head. You've had 22 years. And then I ended the call. 2 hours later, a notification popped up. At Richard Carter official has posted a new reel. Curious, I tapped. It was Dad, sitting in his office, shoulders heavy, eyes raw. He spoke slowly, voice steady. I haven't been the father I should have been, and one of my daughters has paid the price for that. Amelia, if you see this, I'm sorry. The comments exploded. People praised him, some criticized him, but it didn't matter. Because the truth was finally public. I didn't delete a thing from my account. I didn't have to. I had already won. A few weeks later, I stood on my tiny balcony, coffee mug warm against my palms. The sun was rising, streaking the sky with peach and gold. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. I wasn't fixed. I wasn't suddenly whole, but I was seen. And sometimes that's enough. As I watched the sunrise, a thought settled over me like a quiet revelation. Some families break you by excluding you. Others teach you how much you can build without them. I turned off my phone and breathed in the morning air, letting it cleanse every last trace of them. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel outside anymore. I felt free. Final line, haunting reflection. Sometimes you don't need the door to open, you just need to stop knocking.